Well, it's on the ride along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean?
You know, I grew up in what I guess you call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Right Along Live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.
Hello there, and welcome to Ride Along Live for today. It's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday, and I am in lovely, beautiful, awesome, amazing, freaking out of this world Grenada. Yeah, man, I'm in Grenada. And no, I'm not showing off with the palm trees in the back. And yes, I am. I'm sucking it in. Like, eat your heart out, all right? Guys like Mr. Legs and Inspector, or they're in the cool and all you're freezing and thing, eat all your heart out. All you lucky and come inside you're sucking that mango. Because I would have. If I found a mango, I would have been sucking it. But there's no mango in season. But anyway, we're in Grenada, guys, and it's such an awesome experience to be back. I did a video earlier where I show you guys a fly over the scene, and I show you guys what was happening from a bird's eye view perspective, man. Let me tell you something. Coming back to Grenada after all of this COVID and all of this crazy protocols and stuff, it just felt different, Jed. I don't know what about it, just felt real different. So today, after we did the video and everything like that, everybody, you know, listen, Jane, and listen, Jay. Ollie, give me a break, please. Right? Let me spoil the moment for a little bit. So, as I was saying, after we did the video and thing, everybody was thinking about, what actually gonna happen for Spice Mass, Jade? Is it gonna have a Spice Mass? Promoters met with SMC. There have been a lot of back and forth as to what shape what the carnival go take and how it go be and if it go be and all of that stuff. After 2 years not having carnival, so people are ripe and ready for some kind of festivity. Long and behold, today there was a major announcement, guys, a big announcement, very highly anticipated announcement. And that announcement was that yes, Spice Mass 2022 is on like boiled corn. Yeah, it's on like boiled corn. So you know your boy have to be up in the thing, and we want everybody to be up in the thing as well. But there might be some protocols. There might be some things that you might have to adhere to. That's what we're going to speak about today. So we have a conversation with our artist and the promoter. Right? I know him by Eddie, but he goes by the name of Mr. Greenidge. So we're gonna call him by his government today. His name is Monty E. Greenidge, and Mr. Legs, he is Hector Thomas. And I know earlier we promoted and spoke about that we're going to be having we was going to be having Mr. Jamal Phillip, but Jamal Phillip had a late emergency, so we're going to move Jamal Phillip for later on in the week. Today we're talking about Spice Mass. So everybody share up the thing. Everybody share up the thing right now because we're about to start. And I want you guys to participate in the conversation. Phone line is going to be open up as well. So we're talking Spice Mass 2022. Are you planning to come? Are you going to be participating? What you think about it? Are you still engaged in Carnival? Ready for the Bacchanal? We're talking about everything. So I want you guys to get it and share it up right now. Let me do that right now on my page and invite a few friends as well. Spice Mass. Yes. Hope no vaccination required. Okay, let's see. All right, let's jump in the conversation right now, guys. And bring on my guest. He is a promoter here in Grenada as well. And he's been working very, very hard in the negotiation process of Spice Mass. He's a band leader. He's a promoter. He does a lot of stuff. Eddie, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, Junior? How are you doing, Mr. Legs?
Yeah, I was saying, as I was saying today, they can't cut style on me and telling me a day in the cold and a freezing and all that stuff. You see what they behind me, they palm trees and tropical climate. I'm in my shirt and I'm sweating. They can't cut style on me today, like Mr. Legs and them, you know what I mean? Them boys and them, they cool and all kind of thing. Yeah. So welcome to the ride, Eddie. How is everything, Eddie?
Well, taking things one day at a time, as you know, this has been a challenging couple of years, and you have to take everything in it as it comes. Take it in small dosages, because without that, I think things could become a bit overwhelming. So,
Yeah.
as I say, you got to take it in strides, and also take it into consideration. You have your own life, and the hurdles you have to overcome every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will talk about all of those things. Mr. Legs, Hector Thomas, is an artist. He participated in numerous finals here in Grenada. He also came third, I believe. Well, was it third? Well, he placed in the International Soca Monarch in 2020. Mr. Legs, welcome to the ride. How are you doing, Mr. Legs?
Like the cold effect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cold weather, guys. It's a cold weather that's affecting the signal, right? And me and Eddie in tropical climate and Mr. Legs freezing, so you feel like you don't want to. Mr. Legs, unmute yourself, because we don't hearing you. We still don't hearing you. Either change location or connect better. Cause I'm watching your signal and your signal look kind of low. So connect to Wi-Fi, a different source, or move closer to our route, because we're not hearing you at all. All right. So Eddie, let's talk a bit, Eddie. Spice Mass 2022, long awaited, the made today. How did you feel to hear that announcement today? First of all, your first reaction.
Well, to be honest with you, this is something that I think any consumer of entertainment, this would be like Christmas come again. You understand? And I want to give this disclaimer from now, because I have always been previously in negotiations with the powers that be with regards to Carnival and protocols, and I must say I have not been front and center and involved in it, so I can't give much details on what has happened and how it had come to this point, because, as I say, for personal reasons, there's a lot of personal things in my life that, okay, obviously I wouldn't be able to discuss right now, right? But setting that aside, I must say it was a very welcoming news, and I was like, as you introduced me as a promoter, as a person that love mass, love Monday Night Mass, is like the wheels start turning, boy. The wheels start turning right away. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, what version of Carnival will we have? Is it going to be a restricted one? Is it going to be, and you're just hoping for the best, because Carnival in itself, as you know, it's an expression of the people, and if you take that away, sometimes you defeat the purpose. So, as I say, it's exciting times, and I really hope that I see it as a really big opportunity, and so
Right.
I'll give you the opportunity to bring back Mr. Legs just to see if everything is good.
Yeah, Mr. Legs, are you with us now?
So,
Legs, I don't hear you at all. If you need to mute yourself, try again. Nothing still. If you're on Bluetooth, probably just use the phone directly, if that is the case. So here is, I mean, the announcement was made today in a press briefing, and I know that the Spice Mass Corporation has they announced a new chairman. How instrumental in making this happen, and how much input did the chairman and the new administration of Spice Mass Association get from the promoters and the band leaders association of Grenada?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I would say
Okay, Legs, I think we hear you.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Eddie. Go ahead, Eddie.
yeah, yeah. Well, the new chairman, if I'm not mistaken, is now Mr. Ali Gill.
Yeah, the new chairman. Yes.
Yes, yes. And I would just make reference to the fact that Mr. Ali Gill sang a song some years ago saying "A Day in My Blood," and I must say he has been somebody that has been a champion for Carnival, and I think having people like him at the helm is only going to augur well, and is going to help to push the agenda forward. I think he's somebody that is very effective in getting things done, and I think he is specially positioned because sometimes in what when you're dealing with the people at the top at the powers that be, sometimes it's a difficult decision, right? Especially when people that make the decisions are people that not really rooted in the culture. So it's always good to have somebody like him that is rooted in the culture, and he he sees the importance of it. So I think it would really, really only bear fruit in having him. As a matter of fact, I just always tell people that the last time I remember Carnival showed any dynamic change, right? It was when Ali Gill and Mr. Colin Doe was at the helm, right? I always tell people that, right? So as
Right.
I really want, so I think this would only augur well, and I think this would bear really good fruit. And as I said before, I think we have an opportunity, and I hope they take that into consideration because I see it as now that we have a clean slate, a clean slate, so that as we moving forward, a lot of the things that was tedious to implement, maybe you can take a step back and look at it now and see how we could implement it to make the product much better. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Legs, let's make you engage with us again. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
All right, good. Yeah, we could hear you now. We could hear you now. Perfect. Mr. Legs, from an artist perspective, because you have been, you know, you are a producer. You've been performing on the big stage in Grenada, and I'm sure that you always connect with what's happening on the ground as far as it relates to artists. How do you feel as an artist now? Kind of Spice Mass coming back after 2 years. From an artist perspective, how does that rub you?
First of all, let me say special good evening to all the listeners and viewers locked on right now. Um, Hearing that news today, I mean, I saw it on Facebook. I saw people was posting about it. Spice Mass 2022 is on. I never felt so happy in a long time. I never felt so happy in a long time because like most artists, I would include myself as well because I'm an artist as well and I'm a producer. We depend on the carnival in order to like really make money and stuff. To get like streams, and I think around carnival time is when people stream soca music the most. Like most people would say,
Mhm.
"Oh well, no carnival now. People home, the pandemic, people gonna stream music more." But something about soca is different, and I have conversation with a lot of top producers around the Caribbean, and we talk about it all the time. Like my distribution has dropped 50%. Other
Oh,
producers saw a decline in that as well. And people, for some reason, when there is a carnival, people prepare themselves. They get in they do the overtime and they put in for the 2 weeks off. They go online on Spotify, iTunes, and they start streaming the music, get familiar with the music. They purchase the music, keep listening in the car. So I think Carnival has a big part to play in really artists gaining um some type of financial access with that.
right. Either one of you guys could chime in on this, right? Has it been a loss, right, for the past 2 years that a lot of artists didn't produce music, and now that announcement is made, and then I'm hearing, artists are now being engaged, people are feeling the vibe now, so they will now take this little time to go and rush put on some music and probably that much. So that years, do you think that it should have been spent putting together and mastering and perfecting your craft and just waiting, because everybody didn't go be around forever? Was it a loss to if for the artist didn't participate in those 2 years or didn't?
No, artists been doing music. Artists like Junior, I'm in the studio right now. I have a lot of music here. I just haven't been releasing music, but there's artists do music every day. They just wasn't getting the drive or the motivation to release music. So now there's Carnival. I think that would motivate them more to release the music that they've been working on for the last 2-3 years. But artists been doing music, and more music is gonna get done now. That would also motivate us to even do more music as well. So a lot of music, trust me, a lot of music is gonna be dropping for Spice Mass 2022. Watch and see something. Like a lot. I know of producers that has a lot of music there waiting just to release. They was waiting for that time just to say yes. It's a green light. Let's drop some things now.
Right. Eddie, I know you guys have got a chance to meet with the committee in, from time to time to engage in the conversation. What was some of the things that was on your top agenda items to say, okay, well, we need this and we need this and we need to have this in place? What were some of the things? And do you think that was any of those things met in the final decision that would be Spice Mass 2022?
Well, as I said, right, earlier on, and I just want to give this disclaimer, right? So, as I said, I had to take a step back with regards to engaging with me actively on the committee with regards to the day-to-day negotiations and stuff like that, right? But in terms of promoters and what we stand for, things have our vision has always been clear. Things have never changed, right? And I know there have been some utterances that there would be some details that would be released with regards to protocols as to how it would proceed if there would be the same COVID-19 protocols. So I don't want to speak too much on that until I hear what exactly the meat of the matter is. You understand? So without knowing all those details, right, I would prefer to reserve comment on that. But one of the things I would like to take the opportunity to say is that when it comes to Carnival, as I said early on, right, Carnival is an expression of the people, right? And I know it's a tough discussion when you start talking about vaccinated events and non-vaccinated events, and I know this have always been contentious. And I just want to take the opportunity to say, I think is that if you look at what's going on around the world, is that people have come to the realization that we have to move forward, right? We are going to be living with this, right? As a matter of fact, I think I heard something on international news. They call it now I don't want to
endemic.
It's on endemic, yes, right?
Yeah.
So if I am to take that seriously, that should be an indication that we are coming to the end of the road, right? And not to let our guards down. But I think in whatever is the final draft or whatever is the final protocols, they have to embrace what Carnival means. Yes, it may not be what we know the original Carnival to be, but I also said we have an opportunity, right? I see it, not necessarily a blank canvas, but we have an opportunity to right a lot of the wrongs that we have been doing over the years, because we have been, it's like some people say they can't pay in the bus while it's moving. The bus have stopped, right? You have the opportunity to do the necessary repairs, the necessary addressing, make sure the tire well inflated, make sure so that when you get back on the road, right, your journey is smoother, your journey is more effective, you understand? And it's something that everybody could be a part of. As I say, if you want to go into some details as to some of the things that could be addressed, but I think We really have
Yeah.
opportunity, you know.
Now it would be interesting to know what are some of the things, because I'm hearing through the grapevine of some announcements. I'm
Yeah.
doubtful if they're gonna have
Mhm.
a Soca Monarch where there are 10, 15, 20,000 people jumping up in the stadium as
Mhm.
was in 2019. There might be some changes. Would Juve be the same?
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
way the main way would that still push people to want to come? Although there is a carnival, but they might be taking away so much, chunking so much of the thing. People will be like, what? This year, because that is what I like about carnival. Like Monday night mass, that's what I like about carnival. And if they don't have that how I want it, then I don't feel like
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. So
I can
so so
see.
what are some of the? Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah. I would like to say that I think no matter what happens, there were some people that would be hesitant to really, because they always would have the more conservative people that generally not feeling, comfortable going back outside there and socializing as normal. The younger people obviously is going to want to get back to things because they've been out of it for a while, right? But in terms of, I've seen that there, and I've seen some snippets of one or two events happened around the Christmas, right? Where there were, for instance, testing at events, right? Whereby you had to do a PCR test in order, so that when you get inside the event, everybody can rest their heart that all the persons in the event had a negative PCR test, right? A
Hmm.
antigen test, right? I cannot say that this is something that would be implemented, but I can see, um, especially when it comes to private promoters, I can see that is a direction that some people may choose to go, right? Especially if there are restrictions, because the national events is one thing, but you remember you have to govern private promoters, right? And
Yeah.
private promoters,
Yeah.
and there's other legal things that you could deal with when you're dealing with private promoters. If no private promoter want to know that they have a super spreader event, you understand? So I think that is one of the things that I think, as I say, I don't want to say that this is what is going to happen, but I'm just thinking, because this has been done, I'm sure you would be aware that, Junior, that has been done outside in places like Miami and so, right, where you had to get a test
Hmm.
to go to certain events, right? I don't see how
Hmm.
that would be able to be implemented in like a Juve setting. It would be difficult because how are you going to control people coming in? For instance, to the Tonga St. George, you have a million ways you could come into the Tonga St. George. You understand?
Right.
Or you go into the
Yeah.
to Greenville, right? So I don't see that model working for situations like that, right? So it goes back to my original point. I think we just have to understand that this this is something that we have to live with, and is going to
Hmm.
have to, let's just really hope it's really the endemic, and whatever, even if another variant or so come up, is something that is just like the common cold that we are custom kitchen every carnival season, you know.
Right. Guys, we're talking Spice Mass 22. They just made an announcement today that it is on. Right, it is on. People already start to get the Spice Mass fever. People start to drop music. Well, since a couple last week, I've been getting music inbox. And we're talking about some views on it, guys. So we opening up the phone lines. We have Mr. Legs and Eddie on the phone lines. On the call, and we want you to participate and tell us what you think. Did you lose engagement with Carnival during that 2 years? Did it affect you in any way? All of these things, I want you guys to chime in on 718-701-5720. Now to you, Miss here. Looking at what maybe Spice Mass 2022. What are some of the things that you think that absolutely shouldn't be touched? Absolutely should. No matter whatever it is, they need to keep this particular thing to make it Spice Mass. What are some of the things that you think should stay regardless of anything?
Like I always say, and what Eddie said earlier. Now people go to carnival in different countries because of different things, right? And I had a conversation with a gentleman sometime last week. we were talking about Spice Mass, and I said to him, if they're gonna have Spice Mass this year and they're gonna have so much strict restrictions and take all the main things that what we are known for or what would attract people from coming into Spice Mass, then I don't see the reason to have any Spice Mass. You understand? So if you're gonna have strict restrictions and strict restrictions on Juve and the Monday Night Mass especially, which are the two things that we're known for, which people love, which the foreigners love in Grenada, the Juve and the Monday Night Mass, then don't call it Spice Mass 2022. Just say, okay, well, promoters, you can have events. You know, we can do events. You know, just call it something else. Don't call it Spice Mass. If you're going to have Spice Mass, have Spice Mass. If we're going to have Carnival, have Carnival. If we can't have Carnival without the restrictions, then let's just wait until we can have it. Or like Eddie said, it's something we got to live with. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. We got to do what we got to do. You know?
Rumor has it that they are planning on proposing. I heard that through some grapevine that you play Juve respective area. So if you're from St. Andrews, stay in St. Andrews, play Juve Day. St. David do the same. Everybody play Juve in their respective. Do you think that might be
with Grenadians, with my people, like honestly, with my people, Juve. When it comes to Juve, I don't even tell them that. Like telling them don't do it is like telling them to do it. Don't tell them. You saw what happened last year. Like don't tell them no Juve and them cannot do it. If it's one thing I know that so I see how that working.
Yeah.
If your announce there is
no, you make a good point.
You can. That's a good point. But knowing my people, Junior, Juve, come. Juve first before everything else first. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't tell
no. You made a good point when you said that if they don't have these components, this specific components like the Juve, the Monday Night, and all of these things, then don't call it Spice Mass because it's not Spice Mass. It's nobody the experience like that.
Yeah. Don't call it Spice Mass. Give promoters a chance to do probably events, people with fully vaccinated and whatever restrictions you want to have, give them permission to do events. But don't come and say Spice Mass 2022 and then we can't play Juve like we want, no Monday Night Mass and this kind of things and then they like I don't get it. It just takes away. Big time.
Yeah. And Eddie, I know you dibble and dabble in the mass a little bit, well, a whole lot, but mass in specifically. If the protocol is in order to play pretty mass, you have to be vaccinated. That will get, or what percentage of participation you think that we'll get if they enact that protocol for pretty mass?
Well, this is a tough one, because with regards to the pretty mass is something that you can control more than Juve. And simply because that if you realize what has been happening over the years, right? Most of the fancy mass bands have gravitated towards what you call all-inclusive packages, right? Where you try to control who is in the band. Everybody has a band on their hands saying, okay, you're a member of this band, right?
Mm-hmm.
They even go as far as to say, okay, we're going to have security. Some people rope off the band, all these different measures that they put in place. So it is an easier proposition to do that when it comes to fancy mass, right? And even to some extent, maybe even Monday Night Mass. But that would have limitations on the size of the band, obviously, right? Because you can do that maybe in a reasonably small band. But once you start doing numbers in the thousands, it's hard, especially when you have spectators on the side. People going to find themselves in a ways at the band, and the amount of security you would have to deploy, it would be really difficult. In terms of the Juve, and I just wanted to touch something that Mr. Legs said, right? Because I differ a little bit on what he said with regards to the having Juve in the villages. Now, somebody that has been an advocate for fancy mass, right? I always think that Grenada, we have an obsession with Juve, Jab Jab, and all these different Juves popping up all around the island. And I have no problems with that. You know what's the problem I've had over the years is that I think fancy mass over the years a lot of times kind of started suffering because of all of these Juves, right? And I say suffering because it's just like see Carnival as a music and a cultural festival, right? When you go to a festival, you have different components of it. Just like you have jazz, you may have jazz, you may have reggae, you may have soca, right? And just like how Juve is a component of Carnival, fancy mass is a component, traditional mass is a component, pan is a component, calypso is a component, soca is a component. And what has been happening over the years is right, we have this overkill of Juve. And so much so that the bands that used to want to take part in competition, like the Fancy Mass bands, people used to wonder why Fancy Mass moving so late. The reason why they're moving so late because some of the same people that masquerading going and jump up in Sotes, they're going and jump up in St. David's, they're going and jump in all these Juves, and these bands don't want to roll until they have a reasonable number of players so that they could show off their costumes, right? So hence the reason why I differ a bit because I always believe that okay, in regards to Juve, I thought it would have been wise to try to lengthen our carnival season in the context that everybody come and try to put everything into the bottleneck of 2 weeks, right? And everybody want to do events, right? So I have no problem with St. David's having a Juve or Sotes having a Juve, but why not us utilize let's say whether it's a month or 2 months, and we decide whether it is I don't want to say a raffle, but let's just say you're doing it in such a way that you know on this date, whether it's a Saturday morning of this date, Juve St. David's, Juve Sotes this date, and you know the Emancipation weekend, let's say Juve is such and such parish, and then for your final finale of Carnival, you have the two major parishes, which is St. Andrews and Tongue, having the major Juves. That is that's just a model that I have had in my mind because then people like me who want to play fancy mass will be able to know, go and support some of these same vendors and these same people that want to put on their Juve bands, whether it's in St. David's and so, and partake. You understand? And you will see more of a participation in those other parishes instead of just you're seeing the same niche and the same crowd every year. You can expand it and make it part of the product. You understand? So that is the only thing I differ with Mr. Alex with regards to if with regards to the Juve being restricted. Maybe in terms of if they're trying to restrict it on the morning, it might be a bit tricky. But I just looking at it from a long-term point.
That's a very good point, Eddie. I think if they actually do that, it will be a little more better to control it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I know what you're saying. And with the fancy mass, with the fancy mass, I think, like Eddie was saying, it's easier to have the restrictions with the fancy mass, and I also think that the pretty mass will benefit more for something like this in a time like now because, like, you will have more foreigners coming to play pretty mass, and most of the foreigners who's coming to Grenada, they have to be vaccinated. So a lot of costumes will still sell. I know a lot of Grenadians are more into the Juve than the fancy mass. More the people who coming from abroad, they are the ones who like really be more into it. Right? If I'm wrong, correct me. If I'm wrong, correct me.
No, there's a lot of locals in the fancy mass. Fancy mass has
there's a lot. There's a lot, but I think like a lot of foreigners, like even Grenadians who live abroad.
There's a lot of foreigners.
And
even Caribbean people, because a lot of people is on the mass circuit. People that go to Trinidad, they go to St. Lucia, they go to Barbados, and they do just on the mass circuit, going everywhere. And bands even put things in place so that they could sometimes even take their costumes that they played maybe in Trinidad and come and play in Grenada and vice versa, right? So yes, that has been in place. But
something just came to mind, right? We were speaking about the restrictions that I'm hearing in the pipeline about having the Juve play in their respective areas. St. David play over the Grenville, St. Andrews playing Grenville, and everybody play in their respective areas. When you look at Monday Night Mass to my heart, isn't Monday Night Mass kind of like, yeah, isn't Monday Night Mass kind of like a Juve in a way? Because, I mean, you have the engagement. It is like a Juve in the night. So how could you just having the Juve played in the respective areas and justify having Monday Night Mass? And but I don't know how to justify it. And all of this stuff is just for on paper. I just think that's just to have something on paper, because you can't tell a man a jab coming up that they can't come. Jab walking to the river, they have to come to play jab. That is the fact of the matter, right? So all of this is just to say, okay, well, we have this on paper that this is what we aim to achieve, which I don't think that is achievable. But I don't understand how you would justify having one and not the other, if that is the idea, the planning to go with for the Juve.
Well,
right.
What I would say, that's why it's important in all of this engagement, right? I know sometimes from a committee standpoint, there are people that sometimes go and discuss with the powers that be, and they may come up with these proposals that can work. But it's important to get the man on the ground involved.
Yeah.
Get the man on the ground involved, because if you are able to get a man on the ground involved and have a real and realistic conversation of what is possible, right? Then the person's going that is on the level of the negotiating team or so, then should be going back to the powers that be, discussing what it is that the persons that they're representing, what they're looking for, right? So at least when they come up and they work out a deal, that deal is something that all persons on board should have already buy into, right? So that when they're putting together their plans to put together their bands, you would have put your measures in place based on something that you were part of structuring that plan. You understand? Because without that, if you're going to go and come up with solutions that has not been fleshed out properly and has not been, people have not absorbed it and they're not in support of it, then you're going to get a lot of pushback. You will get pushback regardless, but you will get less. You understand? And I think too often that's what happens. You have persons that sometimes, because they're in a decision-making position, I always say nobody have a monopoly on ideas. A great idea could come from what you consider as the smallest man, and I say because everybody is equal, right? And good ideas come from any and everywhere, right?
True.
So I just think you just have to find a way to create those conditions for people to be able to bring their ideas to the table. And as I said, and I keep saying this, we have a blank slate now. Let us fix the problems that we've had with regards to Carnival, right? Or by extension, even if we cannot have what, as Mr. Legs was saying, was Spice Mass Carnival, I think it's time for us to do what we do, a master plan where Carnival is concerned, right? And that master plan should say, okay, this is what we want our Carnival to look like, right? And in doing so, we know coming out of this pandemic that, okay, if we can't do all what we want to do this year, but this is what we want to do by 2025. You understand? So even if you can't implement, and there might be things that, okay, that might be a hindrance because of finances or whatever the case may be, at least you're working towards that, right? So for instance, as simple as if you say at some point in time, we want this Carnival, here we having vendors with pallets all over the place, anyhow, and then 2 weeks after Carnival, you're seeing the place still dirty and pallets. So I'm just using that as an example, right? If we say we want to get to the point that, okay, as Spice Mass, when as a vendor, we want to have limited amount of vending and tents. So when we come and put on a tent, and that tent have power and it have light, so that when you come, you're comfortable and you're able to able to make some money instead of just doing the same thing and expect a different outcome. The model of carnival sometimes need to be relooked at because we just work in our old model. Type carnival has changed, times have changed, and we just have to take it. As I say, I don't want to think people think I'm talking about I'm knocking vending or whatever it is. I'm just using that as an example, right? Because
Mhm.
I just listen. I try to listen to people on the ground, and too often you hear people say, "Okay, boy, I put out all this money for carnival, and look, I ain't make no money." You understand? So sometimes you have to look at the model and say, "Okay, are we doing it the best way we can?" You know? So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I want to take a quick clip of what was introduced today in a summary to the. Go ahead, Mr. Legs. You were saying?
No, I was saying, I read what Eddie said. I think that's the perfect time to make some changes towards carnival and stop running carnival like we're still in the 90s. I mean, we're in 2022. Time for some change, time for some changes, time for some big changes
Right.
too. That's the right
Of
time.
Renegade Rum this morning.
It's the
So
right
we're talking.
time to do that. Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's take a quick clip of what was announced today by the minister, and also I heard a portion of to to get to tonight, but they were saying that there might be more monies, more higher allocated budget. I don't know how big, because the minister didn't clarify exactly how much. But what we're hearing is that there might be a little more funds inside of the budget, the allocated budget for Spice Mass. Let's just take a quick clip of what was.
Dr. Taisha Donald. So good afternoon to all our colleagues joining us via Zoom, those of you, the viewers, joining us on the Channel 2 Facebook page and the YouTube channel, and of course those of you in the diaspora. It's always good to have you. Without any further ado, we will hand you over first of all to Dr. Taisha Donald. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Leslie Ann. Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, the media and persons listening in Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and in a pleasant good afternoon again. So today I'm going to give updates on our current epidemiological situation, COVID-19, and then we'll go forward. So today, we have a total of 33 new cases, total of 435 new tests done. This gives us a positivity rate of 7.6%. So as we note, there's been a nice trend downward in terms of positivity rate. Presently, in terms of our active cases, we have just a total of 107 active cases.
Okay, so she this was a part of the event that was speaking of the COVID-19 activity rate. I want to get to that clip where the minister made the announcement. So I'm going to go through this a little bit. Mr. Legs, if there are more monies, more funds inside the budget for Spice Mass 2022, would you and other artists, like you think Mr. or other artists, I know you guys are having conversation about it, do you think that we'll have more artists coming back into the thing to try to make the thing even more money, incentivize artists in the long haul?
Junior, like I always say, business, we're not doing that for fun anymore. And any artist that is doing that for fun, business, it's fun to it, but this is a business. So if there is something where we can make a profit, at least a good enough profit, then why not? I think money is gonna look in Trinidad when they raised the price to like $1 million. Marshall came back. Then the following year they raised it like $2 million. Marshall was there for like a whole 3-4 years. So I think once the price is up there, you're gonna have more people wanting to take part. So a man know now, even if we put up a $15,000 in presentation and he and win the coconut, he's still coming out there with a nice little food. He could pay whoever he had to pay and still have something in his pockets. I mean, I've been to Socan, but the last time I was in Australia was with Bessie Dung. And if you go back and look at that presentation. The presentation alone was way more than the winning prize. I spent a lot of money, and I didn't do it to
Right.
try to make money that time, because I know the way I was going all out, even if I win, I still wasn't gonna make any profit. I was just doing it because people wanted me to take part. The song was big that year, and I just do it because it's been a while. It's been a while for me. So I definitely think once they put more money into Spice Mass will be even 100 times better with the Monarchs and everything
Yeah.
else. Everything else. Everybody will benefit.
I saw somebody say that if they have extra money, which part of the money, where will the money go? That is a question. I think I'm at a part with Minister made the announcement. Let's see if we could queue up that part right now. Let's play.
Let me first recognize the members of the media, the listening public out there, as far as the diaspora. I'm very happy to be here this afternoon to share some very important information. I'm sure it brings smiles on most of our faces. Yes, so our government have been very concerned about the economic, social, psychosocial implications that not have had, and if not held for a third year, would have on businesses, the youth, the carnival enthusiasts in general. So consequently, the Spice Mass Corporation was mandated to explore the possibility of having carnival this year, being mindful of the COVID-19 pandemic. So to this end, the corporation presented an initial proposal to Cabinet, and I must say the Cabinet impressed with the proposal and the quality of work they have done in planning for the return of Spice Mass. Taking into consideration the implications mentioned earlier, Spice Mass Corporation then consulted with the various stakeholders to address that. They have held several meetings with the different stakeholders and consultations, and today I can now announce with confidence, and you may have heard the Minister of Carriacou and P.T. Martinique, she have announced earlier that Carnival is on in Carriacou. It will be on, there will be a holiday on the 25th, the 28th, that's Monday coming in Carriacou. So the 28th will be a holiday. Well, I am proud and I'm happy to announce that Spice 22 is on August 8th and 2022. Spice Mass 2022 will take on a blended approach with in-house and virtual. There will be heavy emphasis on preserving our culture, mitigating risks. The COVID-19 will be in place consistent with the national policy. We must be mindful, however, that the virus is alive and it's living among us.
Yeah, so with that being said, it brings me to the point that we were speaking about earlier. It is a blended approach to the carnival. It's not the carnival as we know it. There might be a lot of different restrictions that would come into play. So then, is it really Spice Mass? Or Spice Mass? Or should they be called like a celebration of something instead of, and wait till next year and let everything, I mean, at least you have a better opportunity to showcase instead of diluting the brand. They're not diluting the brand because they want to, is because of the current situation. But then don't call it Spice Mass, because essentially it is not really Spice Mass. What you guys think about?
Well,
Go ahead, Eddie.
I think basically we have to, Spice Mass as a brand is, I just think, is something we have to define. What is Spice Mass, right? Before COVID came along, we know Spice Mass to be jab, this Monday Night Mass, and we know that all the elements of what we know are carnival to, right? Things evolve, right? And I think sometimes we have to be open to change, as long as you're not going to kill the brand, right? Because as I said, in making those changes, you have to also embrace people's expression. what carnival is really about. Now, if you're defeating the purpose, yes, I agree with Mr. Legg's previous comment. Then don't say we certain things just don't make sense. So sometimes you may have to remove certain elements because if you think, okay, you have no control, you have no ways or effective ways to do it safely. So then you may have to say, okay, like Trinidad had a version of Carnival. It was Carnival Act. Well, I don't want to define it, but Trinidad had some semblance of, or have some semblance of what they call it, of Carnival. They're having 10 calypso, whatever the case may be, right? And that would suffice, I guess, for people who would want to gravitate to A, B, or C. And I guess so. As I say, I'm not in disagreement with things evolving, but I think it's a delicate balance that you don't kill your product in the process of doing so. So I'm not too hung up on the name Spice Mass, if you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not going to say, okay,
Right. Yeah.
we're not going to call it Spice Mass because we have all these juvies all around the island every weekend leading up. I can't say that. I can't prescribe to that because at the end of the day, I believe things sometimes you have to have some level of organization. So as I say, I'm not hung up on whether or not they should call it Spice Mass or not because I'm very much open to change, right? As long as they don't kill the product.
Right. You said it right there. And I want the viewers and listeners to take this in a bit because you asked a very important. What really is Spice Mask? A vendor. What is Spice Mask? A vendor response will be different from someone who play mass, like someone who's on the street to play mass or play jab. So everyone have a different answer to that question. The government, they might say Spice Mass to the government is to see how we could get as much foreign exchange, as much visitors from the diaspora to come in to spend more money because it's about money. Right?
Yep.
The government don't look at Spice Mass as just people jump up and play jab and that's it. Essentially, it's a business. It's supposed to be a business. So
What revenue? Yeah.
what really is, if it's not generating an income, for me as a mass player, and you might tell me, okay, well, it has to be, I can't have more than 100 or 200 people in my band, knowing that last time I had Monday Night Mass, I had over 2,000 people in the band. It don't make sense to me. So that I'm not going to be a part of that because I'm going to lose big time.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in twice as much work, twice as much money, and I'm not even going to make half of that. So that's not economical for me. I'll still be a part of the
That's not good
celebration.
business.
Yeah, it's not good business. I'll be a part of the celebration, but that's not my Spice Mass. So who do you listen to? Like, who is Spice Mass for? Is it for the people? Is it for the government? Is it for the mass players? Is it for who is it for? Who is going to benefit from something that is diluted and not bringing an income to anyone that are stakeholders in this? It begs the question, like, who benefits?
Well, you know, Junior just said that, and as Alex alluded to, this thing is a business, right? And as you say, everybody have a different definition of what Spice Mass is. And we always have to start with the head, the powers that be, right? Now, I was presenting, you know, every time after Carnival, they have these, whether I call them symposiums or these postmortems, right? And they have been evidence over the years, and you'll see that steady growth, right? When it came to what we know as Spice Mass, right? Where we saw an influx of people of 5,000, then we went to 8, then we went to 10,000 people. And there had been a steady increase, right? Now, as with any business, if you are making money, you have to reinvest into the business, right? So all the different elements and the people that make it happen supposed to be, like Mr. Lex was talking about Soca Monarch, right? Soca Monarch and prize monies should not be hinged on gate receipts. It should not be hinged on gate receipts. That is why when we make reference to the Soca Monarch in Trinidad had raised to how much, whether it was $1 or $2 million, right? The government of the day realized it was important in bringing back a man like Marshall Montano is going to bring more people to the stadium. It's going to bring not just more people, it have people outside in the diaspora coming back just to see Marshall and Soca
Yeah.
Bonat, right?
Yeah, just
And by extension, these people are going to come and they're going to spend money in the economy, whether it's buying food, drinks, the government getting taxes, they through the airport, through taxi, when they rent the rental vehicles, in every aspect of once they're spending money, right? And there have been evidence to show that the government is, I don't want to say making a killing because that's relative, but the government has been making money. It's just that the problem is that they have not been reinvesting enough back into the product. And until they start doing that and giving Spice Mass what is due to it, right? Then Spice Mass is not going to grow. And that's why I said we have a blank slate, and I hope we take the opportunity to do what and do what gives Spice Mass what it deserves. Because too often we just give it lip service. You understand? We shouldn't be waiting for this thing about Spice Mass and gate receipts, and they have to be able to pay bills. The budgetary allocations, right, that is going towards the Spice Mass Corporation should be hinged on whatever percentage of what Spice Mass is bringing into the economy. So if you're making $100 million, then whether you decide 10% of that goes towards that, to me, that is how it should be. You understand? Because you are directly reaping the benefits of the event that is Spice Mass. You understand? So you have to reinvest into it. Otherwise, it's going to die.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
They don't reinvest. They don't reinvest. The monies are being made, but they don't reinvest. I remember when we had that ceremony for the ambassadorship, and the Prime Minister made a statement. He said, because of people like us, that around Carnival time is what the country makes the most amount of money.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But I feel like they don't invest it back into us and into the artists, the promoters, the mass bands and different things. I don't know, but there's money there. There is money. There's money that could be invested. They move like there isn't money.
Yeah.
Spice Mass is one of the biggest and greatest carnival in the Caribbean right now. Like Grenada right now is up there. Everyone is interested in Grenada right now. You understand? So we have to capitalize on that and take advantage of that. You understand? So the monies are being made. They're just not investing it back, like Eddie said. They're not investing it. They need to do it and do it quick too. Or else, trust me.
But
I just wanted to. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to also speak on behalf of the consumers at Carnival, because right, a lot of the times, because of how they structure things, let's say, and I'm not trying to knock SMC, right? A lot of all the different things that the additives, all this charge for this, charge for that, which does not reflect the cost of the product, right? What we are doing in essence is pricing the average man and average woman out of the Carnival product. So you see, like how Mr. Lex talk about the vast majority of people playing fancy mass coming from outside. The reason that is happening is because people that are producing mass, it has become so expensive to produce mass.
Yeah.
If they try to cost what the actual cost to put on a mass band, right? Then you have to, the price is too exorbitant. So a lot of people is priced out of it. Even with Monday Night Mass. Junior, you put on a Monday Night Mass.
I agree.
All these service providers, right? Whether it's music, truckage, all these different common, when you put them together, people walk away thinking sometimes as a promoter or as a band leader, you wouldn't like to offer them a better price. Of course, I would like to be able to offer every consumer a better price, a cheaper price. But the powers that be is the ones that have the will, right? To be able to structure things in a way so that everybody could enjoy the product. Because outside of, with all the talk about the mental psyche and whatever it is. If you have a product and our nationals cannot partake in it because it's too expensive, then you're even defeating the purpose further, right? Because
Yeah.
you're pricing our nationals out of the carnival. And that is what has been
Absolutely.
happening over the years. Every
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
things getting more
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. So it's hard for the
Yeah.
local person.
All right, listen, guys. We are at that point that we
Afterwards.
have to wrap. We are in like in about 2 minutes. Let's just take some closing remarks, conclusion from both Mr. Legs and Eddie on the projection, what you would like to see. I know the powers that be most likely are watching or they will be watching this. We got about exactly 2 minutes, guys. So let's see how we could condense this within that time frame. Mr. Legs, final words from you.
Well, for me, I would like to see more investment, monies and stuff put into Spice Nuts as well. I will also like to see more advertisement. I want when I'm looking at my TV up here in New York, just like how I see Barbados, visit Barbados, crop over. I want to see things like this. I want to see billboards. I want to see more investments, more money going into marketing Grenada and Spice Nuts and a whole and the tourism and everything. Let's stop being scared to do things like that. Let's take the chances. Business is all about taking chances. Let's take the chances. Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Point well taken. Eddie, closing remarks before we wrap up.
Yes, so thanks again for having me, and thanks all the Canadian people. I would just like to say to the powers that be, let us grab this opportunity by the horn. As I said, I think we have a clean slate to implement things that we could not have implemented before, and let us try to make this product something that everybody can embrace and be a part of. Let us work towards making a Spice Mass master plan. What we want kind of Spice Mass to be, taking into consideration the everyday working class, right? And everybody, so everybody could be a part of it, right? Take all these things into consideration. Let's go through every element of the carnival so that everybody ultimately can enjoy the product. Otherwise, there's a lot of people is going to get priced out of the carnival, and I just want us, as I say, everything from vending to mass to Monday night mass. Let us look at everything and let us brainstorm. Let's bring the people on the ground that is actually, I just call them the ground troops, right? So that they could be part of in the decision making of how our Spice Mass should go forward.
The people on the ground. I agree.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for the here and for the late. I just contacted those guys in them earlier. They decided to jump on. So, and Eddie, we're gonna hear a lot more. And I know in the couple of days and months we'll hear the whole idea of the protocol. We're gonna hear more about this here and Ride Along, and also on other platform as well. Eddie and Mr. Lex, thank you guys so much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah,
All right, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Mr. Eddie, not Mr. Eddie, Eddie and Mr. Legs. I mix it up there. Guys, listen. For the next few days, we're gonna be showing you some clips. I'm gonna fly some drone all over Grenada, different places. We're gonna go to St. Andrews, in Grenville. We're gonna be in St. Patrick, be in St. Marcus as well. And just giving you an overhead bird's eye view of Grenada. What a beautiful place. We're going to be here for the next couple of days until we make it back to New York. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy myself. So if all you have oil and thing, anybody cook some oil down, I'll invite me over or come. I'll be there and indulge. Thank you so much. And for the folks in the market are coming back there tomorrow. You know who have. I want somebody that do breadfruit, like you some roast breadfruit, guys. Hook up, boy. If you are roast breadfruit, give me a call. I'll come in and pick it up. All right, roast breadfruit. If you know a friend has roast breadfruit, let me know. Don't hide it. All right. Don't keep the roast breadfruit to yourself. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of our from lovely, beautiful, sunny Grenada. Good night.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Do you feel sick? Are you unsure? Or need to travel, but can't afford the long, exhausting lines? Then you need to be tested for COVID-19. Here at All Pro Health Lab, you can schedule your appointment online. No wait, no lines, no hassle. And get your results back in 30 minutes or less. Call now to find out more. 516-828-1808. Our agents are always ready to help. Hear why everyone is talking about All Pro Lab. It's quick, efficient, and tests are guaranteed in 30 minutes or less with full certification. Check us out online at allprolab.com or call 516-828-1808. All Pro Health Lab.
Well, it's on Ride Along, so it's happening here.